Welcome to the KMBest podcast. We are strongly into double digits here. We are monetized on YouTube. Thank you so much, of course, to my co-host, Gerry Thompson, who made a very nice post calling for people to subscribe to this channel so that they could get monetized, and of course noted that the channel's profile picture is Goon Knight, so he had a giant splash photo of Goon Knight on his blue sky. Please refrain from any comments making fun of him for having a blue sky. Frankly, I've honestly thought about leaving Twitter as well. I'm just too lazy.
I'm still there.
Yeah, but like, come on, are you actually still there? Are you actually in the trenches with the rest of us, sifting through like Elon Musk's refuse? Are you actually like, are you there?
Well, okay, so I know that his new baby mama.
Yeah.
I knew that was a thing because I know a person who was like, yo, I was friends with her.
Did you know that none of his kids are conceived like physically? They're all IVF.
Wasn't it like one of them? I saw the post. I don't remember.
That post then got community noted with actually that kid was also IVF.
Oh, okay.
Insane. Just a crazy thing.
Good job, community notes.
Thank you. just a remarkable thing that happened is apparently Elon Musk has 13 kids, all of them conceived via in vitro fertilization. Anyway, this is a Marvel Snap podcast. I'm sure I can find some relevance to that number. Eson the Searcher, 13 power in the previous datamined. This was a 613 that gave +2 to every card in your deck as long as your deck had a certain amount, no overlapping power, everything gets +2, is that what it is?
If all your cards have different powers, but there's a word before all that.
Oh, right. Legendary? Which, yeah. I don't know what that means, and I don't care to know what that means, but I'm guessing it means you can only run one of it in a deck with other whatever legendary cards there may be.
I was going to say you can still only play one.
Yeah. I guess. But like, yeah. It would be like a you can't play this with other stuff kind of deal.
Sure.
I can't think of what anything else could possibly mean. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of like the only possible thing. Like, there's no other way for a game with only Singleton to implement the legendary mechanic unless we're doing, if you play this and your opponent plays this, neither of them happen. Which would be sick, but also probably terrible.
All right, hear me out.
Sure.
What if it's a new rarity? What if, like,
it's 9,000 tokens?
Do way more. Do legendary? You think it's only going to be 50% more? No way. I'm thinking like the Jinx skin kind of banner.
Oh, yeah. It's just like $200 actual dollars.
Yeah. Legendary.
Yeah, that rocks.
I mean, hey, for what the text of the card does,
it better be $200.
It's probably worth $200.
Well, it was worth $200. Now, I mean, the second dinner has robbed us of this incredibly compelling gameplay experience. Speaking of things that were robbed from us gameplay experience-wise, Thaddeus Ross came out. Normally we start the podcast talking about, the new card that came out and like, are we excited for it and what's coming out now? We're not going to talk about Thaddeus Ross because he's not good. And he's barely playable in the deck that he was meant to go in. And that's our Thaddeus Ross conversation.
Why is he not good?
Well, he's a 2/2.
That's not big.
Yeah.
But what if he draws you a 10 power monster?
Well, that's pretty cool. But like when you think about stuff that goes in that 2-drop slot, we have Captain Sam, we have Iron Patriot, we have Kate Bishop, we have a bunch of cards that are like actually really good, some of which are giving you resources and even doing more with those resources than Thaddeus is doing. And so if Thaddeus Ross was like on reveal, draw a 10-drop, be like, yeah, okay, I'd play that. That's a fine card. I'm into that. I'm happy to play that card. That card's great. But it's not. And so we don't play it.
So not likely to get one card from it, is what you're saying.
It's not even that you're not likely to get one card from it. You can get one card from it. It's that the output is variable, and it's not worth the risk of putting it in your deck because it's taking up a slot that would get used by... Typically, like, you're taking up the slot that's either for Psylocke, which is another consistency piece, or Juggernaut, which is a great endgame option, and neither of those are worth giving up for what he's giving you.
A 10-power monster.
Sometimes. A 10-power monster sometimes And that only matters if you don't have any other ones.
All right, so this legendary Eson that may or may not be $7,000. I don't know.
Yes. 7,000 real US dollars.
If all your cards have different powers, give them +2 power. That's plus 24 power.
Right.
But you're not going to draw all your cards.
So it's only, plus 18.
Only plus 18. He's still counting himself too. Like still plussing himself.
So I think
it's not like, oh, you draw Eson and it's bad. It's a 650. Like, what do you mean?
There are like a bunch of issues I want to unpack with Eson. The first of which is this is going to be an episode that's filled with a lot of gripes at my comments, and I think that you're just going to have to like get over that if you're watching and listening to my podcast. Like, yes, sometimes I am going to react to the things that I see that are put into my sphere of influence, and yes, sometimes this podcast will devolve into old man yells at cloud type, inside baseball, just the worst kind of fart sniffing, and that's what's going to happen right now. I got a lot of
podcasting.
Yes, that's what the point of a podcast is. And so I got a ton of comments when I covered what Eson got changed to, which is a 6/9 that summons a created card out of your hand and just like puts it on the board. And it's like, you have that. And a bunch of people were like really mad that they didn't get this version of Eson. They were like really excited for the Eson that was a 0/24. And I want those people to know that within 5 games, you would have been telling Second Dinner that they were incompetent morons for making that card. You would have to be the worst game design team of all time for that card to ever even come close to seeing the light of day.
Not necessarily. It could also be that they wanted money.
Right. Or you're like 6 months from shuttering the game. Those are the two options, right? Like, you are either so far zoned out and just like cashing in, or you are not even close to being able to do this. And everyone was like, I can't, like, what's really pissing me off about this is that they made an objectively correct decision to not make the most broken card of all time. And I realize there's going to be a bunch of people who, whenever I say this, I get a bunch of people that are like, oh, but they made Arishem. Oh, but they made Iron Patriot. Shut up. This is a 0/18. Ridiculous. Don't even talk to me about those other cards.
Yes, it is a little different. Like, a little different than those cards. Like, this has an opportunity cost, right? Like, you have to find a bunch of things with different powers.
Right.
But, like, just going through the list in my head, it's like, it doesn't seem
it ain't that hard to make a Wiccan deck that just plays this.
Yeah.
You can just do that.
So, like, all right, I have a lot to say. Generally, which is why I have 2 podcasts. But in terms of Eson specifically, I also have a lot to say. First thing is like, when does this stuff get data mined? Like, I don't know. I just imagine that like this could have like not even been a real card or whatever.
Yeah, like Mephisto.
I don't even know what that is. I know that like
Mephisto's a
Firestar was one of them.
Mephisto got data mined in the beta, and it's a 6/0 that says like the stakes of this game double on reveal. And
terrible card.
Awful. Like, it's like a terrible design. It's like the exact kind of thing. It's like I have a theory about a lot of the early data mine cards that like it was like a lot of the early ones were just literally Ben Brode in a room throwing ideas at a wall and just being like this. And then as the game actually turned into an actual game that like people played, a bunch of those got left on like the cutting room floor because they were like, well, that's a terrible idea. We like, it's cool, but we can't do it. And then what happens is a bunch of data miners come across it, and a bunch of people who are like not very good at the game are like, oh my god, they should totally make this. And so Mephisto pops up on Twitter every so often like, wow, look at this, I found it in the data mines. And it's just like, they're never making that card. That's a completely ridiculous assertion. But with Eson, it came up recently. Like, this was data mined like a month ago. There was not an Eson card, and then it appeared with that text.
Right, but like also, like a month later, a lot can change, right?
Mhm.
And it's like clearly this card's text changed a lot, but you look at the other stuff too, and it's like you see cost changes, power toughness changes, or power changes. I was playing Magic all day, man. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's like obviously these things change, but also like I don't know exactly how things work. Where it's like, what if you are trying to figure out if this sort of text even works, or like put legendary on a card? Like, is that possible? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible it could have just been like placeholder.
The text of this card seems very not real to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's not good.
Hulk is a 6/12.
Mm-hmm.
You pay 6 energy for that. That's a big deal. That's a lot. And a lot of decks don't even play 6s because it's like, oh, I just can't invest 6 energy for 12 power. It's just maybe not worth it. This is 0 for more power than that.
Yeah, I do think there is a number of like a number of free power that it's okay to give to people. But I think that you should do that in like the context of like Proxima Midnight or Miles Morales or something like that. Like there
Kahori.
there is an amount that is clearly okay to do, but having it be localized to a specific card, the choice to include that card and or its enablers in a deck, that's one thing. But what I think people really don't get about why this card is so completely egregious is that there are only 12 board spots, and having your cards in those spots be bigger than your opponent's cards in those spots is how you win Marvel Snap games. Like, and getting that for free is patently ridiculous. So it's more than just a 0-20 or whatever, right? Like, it's not just a 0-20. It's a 0-20 that also isn't really taking up a card slot. Like, it's better than that.
It's there every game. Every game too. It's like super turbo Makari that you don't have to actually like spend a card on.
Yeah.
And if you do draw it, it's a 6/15. Like,
yeah.
Not even bad.
Yeah. It's just like a patently ridiculous card that is outrageously strong. That's the first thing I wanted to talk about with like why this card is stupid, because I think it does touch on something that people don't get, which is the amount of board slots on the board, 4 slots in each location, is actually a meaningful constraint on how people play. You can sort of see this in the way people play Iron Patriot, right? One of the more common Iron Patriot lines is to play a 1-drop somewhere and then the Iron Patriot somewhere else, so you aren't using 2 or 3 slots on weak drops like a 1, a 2, and a 3. That's a really common play line. Going against that is a way to try to combat Iron Patriot decks. There's like a lot of like, I think people understand this without understanding that the reason they do that is because board slots are a meaningful limiter on their power. And so to have a card that is that much free power that also is not a board slot is patently insane. In addition to this, though, there is the other aspect of this card, which is I think people look at it and they see what a fun deck building puzzle to try to solve. But it's not going to be fun within 24 hours because it'll be solved, and then some asshole is just going to be beating you over the head with the completed puzzle. And you're going to be like, wow, I had so much fun putting this together, but now the end result is just hitting me in the head over and over, and then you're on Twitter talking about why Second Dinner is incompetent.
So your weekly metagame update thing that you post on Twitter normally has somewhere in the vicinity of like 8 to 10 decks.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of cool. Like, not all of them are, tier 1 or like vying for tier 1 or whatever. But ultimately, yeah, like things are a lot more fun. The game is a lot more fun to play when there are options and whatnot. And I'm sure that there would be some amount of options within building Eson decks. I did not try to figure this out because I assumed this card was not real. But let's say that what you're saying is true, where it's like, no, there is actually just one clear, correct, like best answer, like best thing to be doing. That's pretty boring. But even if there are like 3 pretty good Eson things that you can be doing, it's just like that's not many. Like, you really want a metagame with like 8 to 10 things, right? And this is not even taking into account the fact that like you're probably overlapping on a lot of stuff already. If it's like you're different by 3 things, it's maybe by 3 cards. So all the decks are going to be pretty similar. And this is almost certainly going to be the strongest thing to do, too. Because
there's
again,
not even a question in my mind.
Free Hulk plus. Like, people are complaining about Iron Patriot, where it's like you have to invest into 2-3, and then you get something that may or may not be good, may or may not be discounted. This is just, once you pay the opportunity cost, free Hulk plus.
Yep.
Come on.
And this is just the kind of card where it's like very obviously a mistake to release it. And what's pissing me off specifically is that they made a good decision not making that Eson, objectively, because that is a terrible decision to make it. So what we're seeing is their design process working. They had this idea, and then somewhere along the line, people were like, that's dumb and you can't do it. And that's how it's supposed to work, because we don't want broken cards to release. But this somehow got turned around, and like now the majority of discourse I see about this card is, oh man, I was really excited for old Eson. I can't believe they took it from us. And it's like,
you never had it.
A, you never had it, but B, other people were going to be able to play the card too. Like, like, this is a card where it's like, I can understand the fun of trying to deck build with it, but you realize that your opponents also have access to this card? That's horrible.
Well, hey, that is a strike in the point of, Legendary being like a $500 gotcha thing or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
He's like, hey, I could have had Eson and most of my opponents wouldn't have. It's like, yeah, you're right, I guess. But do you like this game? Do you want it to keep going?
Yeah, I think, like, the idea that this is somehow a mistake not getting this Eson is outrageous to me. It's offensive. Like, this would
people.
I don't know. I don't get it.
People just imagine, like you said, like, oh, I wanted to play with it and have my opponents not have it or whatever. And it's like, that wouldn't have been reality.
Nope.
Like, you are literally just daydreaming at this point and yelling at Second Dinner because you daydreamed. You just made up a thing. That's all you did. And then you're like, Second Dinner, why? And it's like, how is it their fault? Also, like, this is maybe a reason why you shouldn't look at data mines. I don't know. Like, if you're going to be able to do it and be reasonable about it, then okay, continue on. And where it's just like, oh, you see this card, maybe it's fun to think about or whatever. You get to, plan your spending around it in terms of like tokens and whatnot. But like, you see a thing like this and your first instinct is, I was going to have this and no one else was going to figure it out or whatever. It's like, that's wild to me. And for Second Dinner to not release it, how are you mad at them? You should be like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Is like the reaction to them nerfing this card, or nerfing, if it even existed in the first place, the reaction to this card not coming out should be, wow, I'm happy they made a smart decision. But it won't ever be that.
You were looking forward to buying this card, playing with it, and them nerfing it within 2 weeks? Like, that's what you wanted them to do?
I also saw some discussion of, like, what if they made it only give +1? And it's like, first of all, probably still broken. I think people really underestimate how good +1 is, like, just dramatically across the board, in part because of the board slots thing that we already talked about. Like, getting that for free is actually quite relevant a lot of the time. Second of all, extremely boring. Like, is that enough to actually make you want to do that? It's probably really good, but it's like the boring kind of good. It's like a 5x5 split at the gym. Like, yeah, it'll work, but it's not going to be like, wow, I can't wait to evangelize everyone about bench pressing 5x5. You know what I mean? Like, it's basic. So if the card is going to be not exciting and then also probably broken, I don't really see a point in trying to solve it.
Yeah, me either.
It's just,
I feel like the card, the one with the nice stats.
Yeah.
After each turn, put a card from your hand that didn't start in your deck here. That's not a bad card. That seems kind of cool to me.
That one kind of pisses me off, I'm going to be real with you. Because I feel like if Arishem didn't exist... Yeah, the nice stats. If Arishem didn't exist, this could be a 5-drop.
Yeah, okay. I kind of fail to do this all the time, where I'm like, oh, this card is like kind of nice. And then people are like, Arishem though. And I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, if Arishem didn't exist, I think they'd be legally allowed to make this a 5-drop.
All right, hold up.
Yep.
What if... I was going to say, if Eson could be this legendary thing and Arsham could be a legendary thing, and you couldn't play them together if that was the thing.
Yeah.
But like this Eson does not feel like a legendary card. I guess you could just put it on anything. But
yeah. But yeah, like
that would work.
That would work.
Heavy-handed.
I think it's a little bit hacky. They did hackies though recently. They've gotten a little hackier. I kind of appreciate it as a fan of hack design. I'm talking, of course, about the nerf to Serter, who got capped at 11. And this is another old man yells at cloud segment. I'm just gonna give you the heads up now.
It's some magic shit. It's like I hate the text whenever it shows up on magic cards, but it on the flip side of things, it's like it has to be there. Things like Nadu, the most recent example, where it's like it got the hacky text, it still wasn't even enough. It's just like, oh, this can only happen 3.7 times per game or whatever. It's like, come on, this is so stupid. I hate reading those words, right? But then you play the game like with Serter, for example, it's uncapped. Like, oh, how big could I possibly make this? Well,
and 16 and you're just like, oh, I see.
Should this be capped? Yeah, probably. 311 is still pretty good.
The amount of people that thought that killed the deck, like, it's astonishing to me. I thought that the number one complaint about the OTA when I made my video was going to be that Doom 2099 didn't get nerfed enough. That's what I thought people were going to say. Instead, the number one complaint was almost literally, they killed Serter. I can't believe I bought this card and they killed it. And it's like, that deck is, right now, at worst, the third best deck in the game. At best, still the best.
I logged in that day, saw the OTA, queued up the exact same Serter deck I was playing, and won at the same clip.
Yeah.
It's like, the 16 power Serters, when you really pop off, like, I mean, that's involving, like, your Scar Nut Draw, which you don't always have, right? And it's overkill so often of the time.
Also, they gave it a 5th power back for no reason. Like,
I kind of like that. I think that that's maybe sort of kind of clever, because if they didn't do that and they buffed Scorpion, and now Scorpion's in a little play, it would feel really bad if that guy got neg one and ended up at 9.
Good, dude. Good.
No, like your deck is getting hammered enough.
It's not actually
by a Scorpion.
It's actually, but like that's the thing. Once you get Scorpioned, that guy ending up at 9, that's actually great counterplay. B, the things that buff him end up at 9, so you're not getting the buffs anyway. So why do you care that you end up at 9?
Because I'm saying you get like at least 1 discount, maybe 2, if you like snuck something else in or whatever. It's just like Scorpion, and then like your deck fails to work feels bad. At least like let me be operating just like, take out 1 kneecap, not both.
Play a Luke Cage, dude.
Scorpion, dude.
Go play tech like the rest of us have to. Like the whole thing about that deck that pisses me off so bad is that like if you want to beat it, you have to play bad cards. And so it's like, oh, I'm out here playing Mobius to beat Scar, and meanwhile they played a 3/16, and you're just like, oh wow, I'm so glad I played a 3/3. And it's like,
you know what? I think Mobius should get another power.
I think he should go to 2/3.
Okay, I'm down with that too. Honestly, I mean, it would be back in the camp of like, you just put in decks because it's good at that point. But I think it's the unsung hero of Marvel Snap at this point.
I never thought I would say this, but he is a good cop.
I would not phrase it that way, but that's okay.
Format cop, Mobius and Mobius.
I know what you're going for.
He's a good cop. He's the only good cop.
You just keep saying that.
Yes.
But like Mobius, I think is a villain when it's like, oh, your deck doesn't work anymore. But for the most part, it is trying to stop other people from just like cheating, like a Mockingbird or Mr. Negative or Scar or whatever. And it's like, for the most part, aside from Mr. Negative, but whatever, your deck still functions. It's just like, oh, you effectively traded 1 for 1 with my thing, right? And I think that's good. You're using Mobius to restore things to symmetry when people were trying to do this cost reduction stuff to break paradigms. So in that instance, I think it's good. But like if you're playing like old Loki, for example, and it's like, oh yeah, Mobius just cooks you, that's pretty stupid gameplay. I don't really enjoy that.
Sure.
But if it's like, oh, I drew my thing, now you can't go 0-10 or whatever, cool. That guy's great.
Yeah. I think the Scar deck is so offensive in comparison to Mobius, though, because of, like, okay, yes, you are a deck that has, like, a combo finish, right? Like, you're getting this free guy and all that stuff. But the setup for that combo is literally play undercosted beaters. You play your 311 into your 410 into your other 410, and it's like, okay, so to be clear, when you're not comboing, you are still playing 40 points of 10s.
Yeah, hope it's good.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, meanwhile, I'm playing a 3-3 to stop half of your deck from working. I'm trying to stop the combo stuff from working, and you're just like, here's some 10s. Beat me.
And you never know if they drew the Scar or not, either. It's like, did Mobius do anything? Who knows?
Yeah. And so it's just like that's what makes Mobius so offensive as an answer to this stuff for me, is because like it's just A, the world's worst cube equity because it's face up on the board, and B, the guy's a damn 3-3. It's so bad. And so to see people talking about how like Serter got killed by this, like I don't think people like I catch a lot of flack on YouTube for being like, I think these OTAs are good. Like often I will say, I think the changes they made are really good. This is a cool patch. Wow, this is crazy. Wow, this one's really in touch. And often I think people will be like, wow, KM, you shill. But like, here's the thing is I feel like I'm right more often than the people in my comments are. Who were like, oh, they killed this card. It's a terrible OTA. When's the last time they killed a card?
You might be right more often than not. But if you want to prove that you're not a shill, release your bank records. Been saying it.
Yep, I have to release my tax returns. It's the
yeah, exactly.
The president doesn't have to do that, but I have to do that.
Well, you have to, unless you're fine with people just yelling at you on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, I am a shill.
Probably would not. They would just be like, "Oh, well, you got a second bank account in Switzerland," or
which I do. That's where they send the real money. The only thing that's above the board is the 2,000 gold that they send out. But my Swiss bank account loaded up actual gold, not like video game gold, like bars of gold.
Yeah.
That's what they pay me to be complimentary of their patches some of the time.
And that, I mean, they would have that if they would have released old Eson. Old, fake as hell, definitely not real Eson.
The world's realest card, Eson. Just a very actual real card that was definitely going to exist and did not exist only as a spark in the eye of Glenn Jones wondering if he could even do that.
I'm guessing, I mean, technically, yes, I'm sure he could do it, but I also know Glenn and he's a pretty smart dude, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't now get it, man. Like it's like, dude, it's like a well, I'm friends with Glenn.
Yeah, man. I give him a shill.
Like, trust me, I give him plenty of shit in private. All right, I'm just not gonna do it publicly.
That's exactly what a shill would say.
I can clown on my friend, but if I cause the internet to clown on my friend, I'll feel bad.
Right. Okay.
What was I gonna say? Oh, this feels like a psyop within a psyop. Does that make sense?
No, it makes no sense.
It's like allowing this Eson to be data mined might have been a psyop, but then people being like, "Oh, look what they took from us," I think is a psyop within the psyop. I am just so confused by everything that's happening. None of this seems real.
So what was the purpose of the original psyop then?
To see what would happen. I don't know.
Like, was the idea just like, we're gonna test how gullible our customer base is?
Yeah, how are they with card evaluation? I don't know.
Okay, well, what we've learned is we could probably do anything up until the second they have to play a game with it.
Yeah. And then it's like Reddit's on fire, you know.
Like, who approved this crap? Oh my god. Yeah. I think
everyone at Second Dinner's Twitter accounts like magically go on lock.
Okay, then who was directing the second psyop would be my question. The look at what they took from a psyop. Was this like a cabal of some kind? Like a
Reddit. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know what the point of that one was either.
Sure. Just running pointless psyops on each other for no conceivable gain.
Sometimes you get bored. Everyone needs a hobby, you know?
That is a fairly accurate description of the CIA in like the 60s, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm bored. Let's go do some psyops. Let's just
yeah. We're bored. We start second podcast, you know?
Like, this podcast is actually a psyop. To what end? I am not really sure, but it is accomplishing something, presumably.
It's trying to get the Hunter Biden Trump Jr. buddy cop film made.
Yes. It wouldn't be like a buddy cop film though. It's like a buddy criminal film.
Like, buddy criminal.
It's like the opposite of a buddy cop film.
Isn't that the same thing?
It's a remake of Heat. It's a remake of Heat, where
I don't know that I saw it.
Okay, Heat is like the tension between cop and criminal he's chasing movie, except I can't decide which one of them is the cop and which one of them is the criminal. I don't know which one would be funnier.
Okay.
That's sort of where I'm at. Marvel Snapwise, do you want to talk about the rest of these data mines? Because there are actually some sick ass cards on there. Like there are.
I mean, are you like? Here's the thing.
Sure.
They're data mines.
Yes.
I recognize that. Yeah, a lot of them get released as they are data mined, or at least like relatively close to it. But like, I don't know. Even the note here says everything here isn't final and subject to change by second dinner. Keep that in mind, folks.
Yeah. Do you know why they have that note there? I think in part because I was such an asshole about like data mine content early in the life cycle of the game. And I know the guy from SnapFan pretty well. I want to say that is in part due to my influence, because I was really mad at people taking data mines fully seriously. And I was like, you guys have to say stuff like this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially like you just released like, oh, this is stuff that we like mined out of the game or whatever. And people might just take it at face value. Like they don't know how it works. They don't know if like historically all these cards have been released as is, and they haven't. So.
It took me like a year before I was comfortable making a data mine video. Like a full actual year for it to like be part of the community before I was like, okay, I will actually do this, because it just felt so, I don't know, not like misleading or dishonest, but it felt like a type of content creator I sort of conspicuously don't want to be. To, I do my own clickbait, right? Like I got like the Macaulay Culkin face thumbnails and all that stuff. I don't even know if that works, but like I capitalize sentences and words in my titles that don't necessarily need to be capitalized. Like I do stuff, but there's a certain type of like a video where the very premise of the video is misleading, where the fact that the video exists conveys an inaccurate picture of reality. And I really explicitly don't want to be that. I want to be as honest as I am able to be while existing in the extremely weird ecosystem of YouTube, which, by the way, did you know that the background music I use every so often gets copyright claimed by people who don't own it, and I need to send disputes every single time? Like, I just get frivolous copyright claimed every so often, and what it does is it puts the money for that video in escrow, and then I dispute the copyright claim, and they just wait 30 days. And basically what they do is they just hope you don't notice. They're just like, this is a cover of a song we own. It's not. I have a license for it. And so they just like constantly go throughout YouTube just saying they own stuff, and there is no punishment for them. This first happened to me a year ago. Happened to like again 2 days ago.
I knew that this happened, but like, so if you don't say anything, YouTube just pays them, like gives them the money from your video.
Yep.
Like they don't have to prove anything.
Yeah, they're just like, this is ours. And then if I don't dispute it,
sounds like a really bad system.
It's pretty bad, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that's just what it is. I've had it happen because like it doesn't tell you in app; it'll tell you on your email. And so, like, one of the things they'll do is they'll go and they'll look for like older videos and just be like, "That's mine now," And it's like, no, it's not. And I'm not like he's basically just hoping you don't notice. And I don't even know if they gain anything out of it, because it's like no one watches my older videos anyway. Like, you're not making money off of this. You're just like, it's just like an AI robot like trolling the web, constantly doing this whenever it can recognize a song that they can do false copyright claims on.
Yeah, just occasionally printing money too if someone
If someone
hasn't been YouTubing at all,
or
whatever,
is like correctly afraid, because I know about this specifically because the first time it happened, I was very afraid. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And I had to like look into it and find out that this is like a known thing with this company and this specific backing music that they constantly do. And they've just been doing it for years. Just false copyright claims for years. No punishment whatsoever. Happened again to me literally yesterday, I think. Really, really cool system.
Agamotto.
Yeah.
510 vanilla. The old one says at the start of your game, shuffle card token count spells into your deck.
That's I'm just gonna pretend what it means is you get spells the same way you get Thanos stones. So walk me through what the spells are.
Well, I'm looking through, seeing these things with 0 power, and then the rest of them look like normal cards, kind of.
Probably the zeros.
Well, all these look like they have the dude on them too.
Yeah. There's one called Bolts of Balthak, which someone in my Discord pointed out sounds like Mike Tyson threatening to punch you in the nuts.
I shouldn't find that so funny.
It's
very
I'm good.
Sleepy. It's been a long day.
He's gonna hit you with the Bolts of Balthak.
Dude, stop. All right, 3-0 on reveal. Next turn you get +4 energy. Oh, okay, banish this. That's nice.
Oh yeah, they invented a new mechanic. It's exile, but they're calling it banish.
Do you know it's exile?
Yeah, they mentioned
what else it would...
in the Discord. They were like, it's gonna be like dying, but not dying. So like, yeah, it's exile.
All right, so Magic does this thing. They have an exile zone, right? They have a graveyard, and then they have an exile thing. And in theory, the exile thing is like gone forever, cannot interact with it, except they keep making things that interact with it. It's second graveyard at this point.
It's the funniest shit on earth that they were like, man, there's too much stuff that interacts with the graveyard. We need to invent a second way to kill things. And now they're like, wow, that second way to kill things, that's open design space. We need to invent cards that interact with that. And then it's going to be, wow, there's too much stuff that interacts with the exile zone. We need to invent a third way to kill things.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what that is going to be. Just rip up your opponent's card or whatever.
Yeah, but then they're going to make the card where it's like, for every piece of your opponent's card you ripped it into, it gets +1/+1.
Yeah. Anyway, second dinner. Don't do that. If you're going to do like an exile thing, keep it there. I think Magic probably did it once and was like, oh, this is novel because this is the only card that does this or whatever. And then they just kept doing it.
Yeah, it was cool when we did that. Let's make it a tribe. Oh, it was cool when we did that. Now we're revisiting the plane where the tribe is. Let's do it again. Hello, Eldrazi Displacer.
Look, that card won me thousands of dollars. I do not condone its existence. Anyway, bolts of
Balthak, baby.
On reveal, next turn you get +4 energy for 3. So it's like you get 1, but if it's just shuffling them into your deck, you have to draw this.
Yeah.
Like it could be good because it's like, oh, turn 4 you play 6, on turn 6 you can play 6. Maybe you can do something with that. Or maybe you can do something specific in the same turn. Either way, you're getting +1 energy. Trying to think of like ways to kind of mitigate this or whatever, like King Eitri, which I think makes sense and is pretty good, but I don't know, like King Eitri still only 2 power. So
I just realized that the noise gate on my mic was off, so everyone could hear me go like inhale there. They could just hear me like inhale like very loudly, and I'd like to issue a public apology for that.
Yeah, you should.
That's the
how,
emotion.
How dare you inhale?
Well, it was more like a snort. It's just like
I didn't even notice it.
I could see it. It got to like normally our volume's at like minus 10 on my capture. It got to like a solid minus 30, which means people probably heard it. Just a little sub theme there. A little,
or they didn't, and now you brought it up, and now they're rewinding the video.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, you did snort. Thank you for that apology."
I really hope
you should have apologized better.
Yes. So my prediction for Bolts of Balthak is that I feel like this card is going to generate some of the worst deck building ever, because people are going to be like, "Oh, I need to put a bunch of big guys in my Agamotto deck so I get the payoff for Bolts of Balthak," and it's like, you're about to make the world's most unplayable deck. Also, I see you making that face every time I say Bolts of Balthak.
I can't help it. I can't help it. I hope that from now until forever, I only interact with it without someone saying it.
Yeah, like, I don't really know how it's supposed to be pronounced, but I don't know how to read it any other way than ballsack with a lisp. Like, Balthak? Like, that's worse. It sounds like a sock you wear on your balls, but with a lisp. There's not a good way to pronounce this that does not involve sounding testicular. You got a proposal for me, dude?
I broke it. Are you ready?
Sure.
Quinjet into this card is a clean 6/3.
Whoa. I mean, I do think this Agamotto definitely wants Quinjet, I feel like. That makes tons of sense to me.
All these things are kind of expensive.
Yeah, but if you take one off of them, they're great value. You know what I mean?
It seems like it. But again, it's like Quinjet takes up a slot, is 2 power.
Yep.
May or may not be worth it. I don't know.
About to draw Bolts of Balthak with a hand of like Quinjet and like Agent Coulson. It's like, wow, I'm so glad I got this.
Yeah, dude, I am popping off now.
It is kind of sick nasty, like late game though. Like you go bolts on 5, and then you just have 10 energy of like whatever randomly generated garbage you want to play.
Yeah, and that is kind of the problem, right? With Snap is just, final turn, here's 30 power, you don't know where it's going, and this does sort of enable that. So yeah, I was thinking about maximizing this, curving Quinjet this into a 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
But it is probably better to just turn 5 this thing, huh?
Yeah, and so this one combined with the images one, which makes me laugh so hard. Images of Icon, which is the 4, which turns. Go ahead.
I'm not gonna say it with a lisp or say which celebrity said this one, or you got nothing for this one.
No, I've got a joke for this one too. You just didn't let me get to it.
My bad.
Okay, it actually kills me because this, like, when you really go through it, it's like they were coming up with like spell names way back in the day or whatever. And they got to the one for images and they got really lazy and they were like, what if we just spelled icon wrong? What if we just spelled the word icon with a K and 2 N's? And they were just like completely gave up. Like everything else, like the Eye of Agamotto is like this. It's stupid, but it's like pulp stupid, right? This is like, I am like a 13-year-old writing on AO3. Like, my spell, the thing that creates things is images of icon. And what it does is it turns things into the strong guy. And it's like, this is... Are you Googling AO3 right now?
No.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
I don't have to Google that.
I wanted to make sure you knew what it was. I was like, what, like... Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
What I was Googling was Agamotto's first appearance. Which I still don't have. But because I was so rudely interrupted.
Right.
But the reason I ask is because
the A in AO3 stands for Agamotto.
Oh, well, obviously as a big fan of AO3, I knew that already. Duh. This reminds me of do you know Jason Ford? Have you ever heard of this kid?
I have no idea who that is.
Good friend of mine.
Any relation to Henry?
Henry Ford is a white former U.S. president.
Former.
Just the Ford guy.
Yeah, like famous anti-Semite Henry Ford.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
This Jason Ford is Chinese, so no.
What? They can't have that? It's racist, Jerry.
No, they
pretty
can.
sure they can.
I just don't think they're related. That's the only thing I have to go off of. Sure. I think it's kind of solid. It's not indisputable.
It's a solid theory, I think. Yeah.
I could text him and ask him if you want me to. Anyway, he told us this story once. I don't know why, because we bring it up roughly once a year, where his parents were like very strict, would not watch him watch cartoons, just like TV at all. Just like no TV. Sure. He just wanted to watch Pokemon when he was a kid. You know, all the kids in school were talking about Pokemon. His mom's like, no, go do your homework. So he did. But then the kids at school would be like talking about how Pokemon's great, and he would want to be cool. And he'd be like, oh yeah, I love Pokemon. And they're like, oh yeah, you probably, don't even know what Pokemon is. He's like, Jason was like, yeah, I do, like a 6-year-old would. And it's just like, Pokemon is Pikachu's best friend.
It's so true. That's so pure. What an incredible, like, as someone who's just a compulsive 6-year-old liar, that is so relatable to me. Like, just
yeah. So I did the AO3 Agamotto thing, and I'm just Jason Ford right now. Sure. That's all I am.
Yeah, anyway. I am literally. This is the most off the rails I think our podcast has gone in a very long time, maybe ever, and I accepted that this was going to be an episode like that when we started out just like complaining about Eson for 25 minutes, but I didn't think we'd get here.
Well, Jason also referred to a judge as Your Majesty once.
That rocks. More people should do that.
He was like, I have to call them Your Honor. I have to call them Your Honor. Call them Your Honor. And
I thought you meant like a Magic tournament judge.
Oh no, like a court judge.
That is way funnier if it's a Magic tournament judge.
How did this guy end up in court, you may ask? Well, he was riding around with a friend of ours, got pulled over, a kid ran a stop sign or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, yeah, it's fine. Like homeboy will get a ticket. And then dude just had a bunch of weed in his car. So then Jason had to go to court for this dude's weed.
Right. That makes sense. Are we going to get back onto talking about Images of Icon, the actual spell?
1972. Agamotto's first appearance, Marvel Premiere number 5. The reason I bring this up is because 3 of the 4 spells, I don't know why it's only 3. I'm kind of tilted now. Sure. Have alliteration. Winds of Watum, bolts of
say it.
Ball stuff.
Sure.
Images of Icon, and then temporal manipulation. I don't get that one.
Yeah, that is actually a good point. Why isn't that like, Timmy Time Manipulator? Like, what's going on? Was there not a guy who started with T?
I don't know. Or did you just make it up?
Yeah.
Because that's what they did for everything else. But like Bruce Banner, Peter Parker, all this stuff. Like OG Marvel loved alliteration.
It's true.
I think their thing was like, oh, it helps the characters be more memorable, or like you just do remember their names more when that happens, something like that. They just had a hard on for it. They loved it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy had to have been early if these are his spell names.
Yeah, no, he's
pretty early.
Honestly, 72 feels a little late. Like it
is late for sure. Like it's not 90s or anything.
No, God, no. In the 90s, he would have been like super muscular and like wear a Deadpool type mask and like have feet that aren't really well drawn because Rob Liefeld made him, and just sort of generally be a guy with like a bunch of zippers on his costume and guns and stuff.
A lot of zippers. He's got spells. He's got spells in all those pockets.
Yeah, and like all the guns shoot magic, but like they're guns. Come on now.
Yeah.
AK-47 of Agamotto.
What if
Agamotto had a gun? That's the
a magic gun.
Images of Icon is the spell that transforms all the cards at the location that it's played at into the biggest card at the location that it's played at. So very strong for 4. It's like a mini bar sinister.
Yeah, I mean it is interesting because it's your other cards, and then this PP poofs, right?
Yes, so you get 3 copies because this would have to go in the 4th slot.
Yeah, so ideally you do something like Ms. Marvel or some nonsense that goes wide, right? Mm-hmm. Blue Marvel, I guess, just a bunch of Marvels.
Wiccan.
Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking about like Wiccan Agamotto, and like Wiccan is already like so tightly constructed, and people skimp on things so often where you like people only play 3/1 drops, and it's like I get it, but it just means that your Wiccan doesn't work a lot of the time, and then you shuffle in like random spells.
Wiccan Agamotto is going to be the first deck to justify Quicksilver and Domino.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. That was what I was getting at. Was like the Wiccan math gets scuffed, but like a lot of this stuff makes sense.
First ever Quicksilver Domino deck. We did it, baby.
Okay. All right, where's the joke? I'm still waiting for the joke.
That wasn't a joke. I was serious.
No, I know, but it's the misspelling.
Yeah, no, it's just the misspelling. It's like every other one of these is like, you know, maybe not well. Like maybe you don't want your like fancy name to sound like the word ballsack, but they at least tried. They tried something there. You know? Watum. Woo! It sounds like something. Icon. It's the word icon. It's lazy.
Ballsack. You think a lot of work went into that one?
Yeah, you know, a lot of, I mean, our existence created by God, of course. A lot of work went into ballsacks. Ineffable work, really. Frankly, I can't believe you would denigrate the near infinite, I argue, work put into the human body, and thus, by extension, the miracle of the bolts of Ballsack, which is when you get your balls ripped off and they bolt them back on.
Oh, I'm a child.
I want you to imagine. I want you to imagine.
Can't argue that.
No. Frankenstein neck, but it's your balls, like the bolts.
Yeah. Why is there a Hulk in here?
What do you mean?
Yo, look at this dope card that we data mined. It's just Hulk, 6/12 Hulk.
Oh, it's Bruce Banner. He gets his own Hulk.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's Bruce Banner gets his own art now. For when they make it, for when they go back and buff him and they make him High Evo Hulk.
I was gonna say, like, did they buff him?
No.
To make sure he actually transformed? No. Okay.
No. That's
all right. Temporal manipulation with no alliteration. 1 cost on reveal. Give Agamotto +3 power. Put him into your hand if he's not in play. Banish this.
That's just good. Like, draw a card. Yeah. You're a big fan of card that says draw a card. I like it. This is a great spell. It means that you get to see the big guy more. This deck obviously wants to play the big guy because it would like to be able to images of Icon the big guy. Big fan of that. 1 cost card. Big fan of that. Easy to get it into your curve. Great spell. Good job.
Ooh.
That's it. That's all I have to say on that one.
I'm gonna say this, I think, whenever I see a 1 cost thing. Do these things work with Joaquin?
Probably. But also, this seems like a not
thing
great
on reveal, but I don't know how the banish thing works.
Yeah, I would guess they work with Joaquin because I don't think there's a way to make banish part of the on reveal clause. But possibly? I would guess that works with Joaquin. But like, why would you want to Joaquin that? Ooh, I get 6 power instead.
Well, what if you already have Joaquin in your deck?
Why would that ever happen?
What if they made 3 busted 1 cost cards?
Why are we playing Agamotto? You lost me. If we have like 3 busted 1 cost cards of Joaquin, I want to be doing that.
What if there's a reason for that too? I'm just saying.
Okay. We've entered magical, not even like magical Christmas land. It's like instead of it being like magical Christmas land, it's like, you know, spirit Halloween land. You know? Like it's
I just want to know how things work. That's all.
All right, I will bet that it works with Joaquin. That is my bet.
All right. I mean, I'm not gonna take the bet. Just because I don't know. I'm not confident either way.
All right. I see how it is. All right.
But thank you for your opinion.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I will take that as fact, given that you are a YouTube person and
that
I see you on the internet.
Exactly how I want everyone in my comments to respond to me all of the time.
Winds of Watum. 2/0 on reveal. Afflict an enemy card here with -5 power and move it right. Banish this.
This one's really funny to me because winds have nothing to do with affliction. And so it's like this.
You ever been in a tornado?
Okay, that could be destroy. Like, I get that you can flavor it, but it's also like when I look at this card, I'm like, they put that move on there just to make this flavorful, didn't they? Like they were like, let's slap on some text at the very end that makes it actually fit that it's winds. Ooh.
Why is the wind only blowing to the right?
You ever been in a tornado, Gerry?
Can it not? What if it's
a tornado
in Australia?
Know.
Does it circle the other way?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure they go one way. Like, I am not qualified to talk about this in any way. Do you think tornadoes go a different direction if you're on the other side of the equator?
Doesn't the toilet water?
I don't know. Like, that's a serious question.
Yeah, I don't know either. I saw that on The Simpsons once or something.
Yeah. The point is, it only goes right because much like NASCAR, but the opposite of that, that's how tornadoes work.
Okay.
They only make right turns. It's Zoolander. This is a Zoolander card. That's the.
Are there any more spells?
There's like a fifth one that got data mined, but we don't have the effect of it yet. There's one that costs 5. It's called Flames of the Faltine. Again!
Hey, alliteration!
Yes, again, alliteration, making me even more annoyed at temporal manipulation. But this one is like, okay, Flames of the Faltine, like you weren't just eating crackers when you made that. Like, all right, dude, this is my, water of the. Oh wait, I don't have a brand name on this. My bad. If I had a brand name on my water bottle, it would have been way better. But like, this is my Storm of the Stanley Cup or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. You can't do that.
Happy Belly purified water.
See, honestly, when you held that up, it just said water on it, and I was like, "Damn, you got the water."
It's light blue.
Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, this is like the booming. There's a B word for water. I swear to God, I'm working on it. The booming bay of Bappy Helly. Anyway, I did it. That's the equivalent of this. Like you're just like looking down and doing the scene from The Usual Suspects where he's just riffing. Spoilers for The Usual Suspects, by the way. But like that is what Flames of the Faltine is. You were eating crackers and you were like, holy shit.
Or it's like if Mike Tyson ate a saltine.
That would be Flames of the Faltine, Gerry. Very different.
But he wrote it out. He wrote it out in his own voice.
That it would just be the actual
this is what
word.
I was trying to say. This is what I was trying to say.
It would just be the actual word because you don't have a lisp when you write.
Maybe he does. I don't know. I've never read his work.
This sucks, man. Turn this podcast off.
Dude, it's been a long day. Like I said, I'm sorry.
All right, what do you got next?
What do I got next? I got the Hulk. All right.
Oh yeah, it's new card 612.
Fan Fey No Art.
Yeah, what's that card do?
That. So I guess an older one had the waxing text, which is like Khonshu. I don't know.
No. How do they run their playtests, man? Do they just like have a bunch of cards that do nothing in there?
Khonshu waxing. When a card is destroyed, plus 10% chance to Hulk out. Okay.
I refuse to believe that.
Fanfare says, activate, move your other cards here away.
What's her stats?
It's just blank.
No stats?
No stats.
If that card's like cheap, that card's kind of messed up. Or if that card is on rate, that card's kind of messed up.
Yeah. Certainly the cheaper, the better it is, right?
Yeah, I don't like that card existing, actually. Like, as a dedicated move bounce hater, the last thing I want is for that deck to get another thing that does that thing.
Ooh. I like this card.
What you got?
Fire Hair. The name is silly. I don't know this character. 2/3.
I know this character.
When one of your cards is destroyed, this uses that card's on reveal.
Firehair is prehistoric Phoenix Force.
Oh.
So she's the host of the Phoenix in like 1,000,000 BC. And I don't know how she got the name. I am guessing because the gag is that they're cavemen, so they don't really have a better way to describe her other than fire hair.
But if they're cavemen, they might not have had fire yet.
I think cavemen had fire. I think that was like the... actually, I do not know if we had fire 1,000,000 years BC. We probably didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to go check and see what some random guy on YouTube says to know the answer for sure.
I'd have to go get psyoped in order to figure it out.
That is like the saltine thing for sure. It's like, what's your name? Fire hair. Shit.
There's like a Family Guy gag where Peter Griffin is asked his name and like frantically flails around and sees a pea and then a tear rolling down someone's face and then a griffin and comes up with his own name as his alias. That's sort of what Firehair is there.
Anyway, I like this card.
Are you gonna tell us what it does?
I said when one of your cards is destroyed, this uses that card's on reveal.
Oh, I didn't hear you. So, Misery, yes. Is that good enough?
I don't know. This may be a Joaquin problem where it's like, oh, this is like a good enabler, but what am I supposed to do with it? And it's like, the hood, shit.
It's like, and that's the other thing is like Misery is good because it is a sort of small package that goes in stuff where it's like, you have other applications for it a lot of the time. You have like Iron Patriot at the very least where you're happy to Misery or whatever, right? And so if the more you invest in being a Misery deck, the more you like need reasons to justify doing that. And this card really wants you to do that. I am kind of into like the Iron Patriotness of it all. Like if I can get some extra Iron Patriot triggers, I get 3 Iron Patriot triggers a game. That seems awesome to me. But I'm not sure what else I'm doing beyond the hood and Iron Patriot here.
Yeah, I mean, Misery is doing God's work in making sure that your board is not full at all times from all this garbage. So that's cool. But okay, so there's an important distinction here.
Sure.
Between cards that are good and cards that I like.
Right, they are. That is not a like Venn diagrams. I think in order to be a Venn diagram, it has to actually intersect. I am not sure that those two categories qualify for a Venn diagram.
I mean, just law of numbers.
You'd think they would, right? No, that's what I'm saying. Like, you'd think they would, but I'm not sure they do.
A broken clock is right twice a day.
Okay, what is your... Name a card you like that is good.
Fire hair. Shit. No. In Marvel Snap?
Yeah, in Marvel Snap. Name a card that you're like, I really like that card, and it's also good.
The only 2 cards that I've used borders on are Iron Patriot and Kate Bishop, but that's because they're good, and I like them. I wouldn't say they're like my favorite cards, but I know that no matter what, I'm gonna play them in a bunch of shit. It's not like
I don't know if that counts.
If I use the border, I like okay, I just never use this card again, or maybe it gets nerfed or something. It's like you can nerf those cards; it'd still be good.
Yeah, I don't know if that counts, man.
No.
Iron
Patriot doesn't count as a card I like, but is also good.
I'll give you Iron Patriot because you have vociferously defended that man. You have gone to bat. You have gone to bat for Iron Patriot multiple times. So I'll say that yes, you do in fact. That is the overlap of the Venn diagram right there. Iron Patriot.
Is it like they're barely touching?
Yeah, they're like
in there is Norman.
Yeah, they're like hover handing.
Like help.
Yeah,
help, get me out of here.
I can't believe the best card in this game is Norman Osborn. Come on, man. Marvel Snap's Glup Shido problem is so prominent. Like, the best card in this game is...
What the hell is that?
Glup Shido is like... It started as like a Twitter post, but it became like a fairly accurate descriptor of like... You know how like a Star Wars guy will be like, holy shit, that's whoever the fuck that is? That's Glup Shido. Like, oh, I can't believe that's Glup Shido. I know him from reading Tales of the Bounty Hunters. Like, that's Glup Shido. And like, because Marvel Snap doesn't use They're like, you can't make a Wolverine 2. They always they dig really deep into the rogues gallery, and they're like, back in.
Yeah, but that's not Norman. Norman as Iron Patriot, maybe.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Green Goblin, no. But how many people even know who Iron Patriot is? Probably not a lot of people.
I am pretty sure that I was like, I don't know what the shit this is. And then you started calling him Norman, and I was like, Norman who? And then you were like, oh, he's the president or something.
Yeah, so Norman Osborn basically, like, the story of Iron Patriot is he basically trips over his own dick into stopping a Skrull invasion. They were doing the secret invasion, and Norman Osborn like stops it and like basically like trips and falls and like lands on the leader of the Skrulls and kills her, and then he's like, I saved America, and then they make him the president. And then he turned shield into sword because Marvel writers are incredibly creative and clever.
Did it have an acronym?
They actually address this. He's like, so they have him go like, you know, I want you to call it sword, or maybe it's hammer. I forget. They're sword and hammer. The point is, they ask him what it's supposed to stand for, and he's like, I don't care.
Fire hair.
He's like, I literally don't care. I just want it to be a weapon. So like they have him in character just be like, none of this pansy ass shield anymore. Like he's not subtle about it. And then
the best defense is a good bolts of Balthag.
Bolts of Balthag, baby. And then he forms the Dark Avengers or the Thunderbolts or whatever. And he forms the Dark Avengers out of the Thunderbolts. He was leading the Thunderbolts at the time that he sort of tripped over his own dick to kill the Queen of the Skrulls or whatever the fuck. And so the Dark Avengers then proceed to lay siege to Asgard for reasons, I guess. It's not entirely clear what their motivation is. They lose. He's not the president anymore, because those things are related or something. I don't really know. And so like the arcs in which he was Iron Patriot are basically it's Dark Reign and Siege, and that's it. So this character existed for like maybe 2 to 3 years.
Is this like 616 also?
Yeah, oh yeah.
What the shit?
Yeah, comics are weird now. I've been reading more. I have more favorite comics guys now. I used to just be an Al Ewing guy. But now I like Jed McKay and Denise Camp. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly because I've only ever seen it written. And I'm assuming because his name is Denise that it's probably pronounced Camp instead of Camp. But I might be being racist. I don't know.
Couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell you either. But I do like his work a lot. Like I've been reading more comics recently. And yeah, he's awesome. He's really good.
What stuff?
Like
not storylines, but just like books.
Books? The ones I read most recently were Jed McKay's Black Cat. I was a big fan of Jed McKay's Moon Knight. I almost called him Goon Knight there. And I read Denise Camp is doing the Ultimate Universe right now. So I read The Ultimates, and then I also read some Ultimate Spider-Man, which is not him. I believe that is someone else who real comics nerds will get mad at me for forgetting the name of because he's like a legend. But the point is, I used to just be I like this kind of comics, and now I'm sort of branching into like a genre, which is guys that are really good, like the guys who end up writing like big Avengers books or whatever. They start out with like a character who is super D-list. And I love that. Like, before these guys get trusted to do... Like, Jed McKay writes the Avengers now, right?
But first they're like, here's Glub Schlubbo or
here's
whatever.
Black Cat. Go do something cool with Black Cat. And he did that, and it rocks.
It's a cool character. Her I remember reading, like, her origin when Snap was in beta. Because, like, I knew it was like, oh, you know, Spider-Man. It was basically like Catwoman. To Batman, effectively.
Yeah, no, yeah, that makes sense.
And then it was just like her backstory, according to the Marvel Wiki, was just like every awful trope for women.
It's not true. The way McKay writes her is that she's just basically the world's most traumatized woman. But not like traumatized in a way that's like, oh, this is my deep weakness. You've uncovered my trauma, but like traumatized in like the way where it's impossible for her to take things seriously. And that rocks. She's great. Shout out to Felicia Hardy, the GOAT.
Yeah, that sounds cooler than just like everything. It wasn't even about her. It was just like, oh, well, this was her worth when she was like dating this person, and like this is like I learned more about who she dated than like anything about her, and it was just like that's just her is like
yeah, no, her
it's just like her past and abuse and trauma.
Yeah, like the character as written by McKay, at least in that series, is very much just like someone who is unwilling to not do capers. Like her entire life is just capers and like heists and like just sort of someone who just like is like, I would like my life to be Ocean's 11 100% of the time. And then like the ethical justification for that is like that under all of it, she actually was very hardened by the trauma and is taking things because she thinks that like that is, that's what you do. If you want something, you take it. Period. It doesn't matter if it's a person or a thing or whatever. But also on top of that, she just kind of wants to be loved, I think, is sort of the real underlying thing that goes on there. But not the way you'd expect. Like, I think, I don't know. She rocks. Like, there's a lot of like surface level and then underlying stuff with her. The point is, great. I love when people do that. I love Jed McKay's Moon Knight. I love Jed McKay's Black Cat. I was a huge fan of a bunch of the early Gwenpool stuff, which is like the definition of glup shido. Like, where it's just like, go do something. Here's a D-lister. Go do whatever. When they have like a good artist or creator and they aren't like trusted enough to get like one of the main properties yet, that's the stuff I want to read.
Okay. The first Ghost Rider. I thought, I don't know.
What?
Our Ghost Rider was the first? No, there's multiple people, right?
This is prehistoric Ghost Rider. So by definition, the first Ghost Rider.
And I guess he is riding a dinosaur.
It's a mammoth, Jerry.
Not technically a dinosaur. I don't know, man.
No! Dinosaurs are lizards.
Actually, me?
Yeah, dinosaurs are lizards. How?
And why chickens are dinosaurs, man? I don't know.
Okay, but a warm-blooded mammoth, an elephant isn't.
I'm not a scientist.
Clearly.
Yeah, 2/6 on reveal. Discard the lowest power card for your hands.
Dude, this kills me every time.
Remove that card's power from this.
Discard the lowest, like this is the stuff that people make videos about. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh my god, I can't believe
breaking alert. What do you think this does?
Legendary.
Yeah. No, that Eson is real, true.
Yeah.
My uncle works for Nintendo, but he somehow knows about the second. He gets second.
My uncle is Ben Brode.
Well, that's just not believable. You gotta.
Right. My uncle is Glenn Jones. That's why we look alike.
True.
Yeah. By the way, totally unrelated question. Were you wearing a bathrobe last time? Because I got several comments that were asking if you were wearing a bathrobe.
No, but now I'm trying to think of what I was wearing.
Well, whatever it was, it looked like a bathrobe, apparently. The first Ghost Rider is a absolute gore discarding machine.
Yeah, I was like, isn't this card just cracked?
Does it work the way I want it to work with goblins? Am I about to get like a 214 discarding my Hobgoblin?
No. Okay, so I'm thinking back to the Mr. Negative Hobgoblin interaction. Mm-hmm. I know that you remember this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that doesn't make it so you generate 8 energy, right?
It does not.
So I believe that things will like below like any negative will count as 0 effectively, even though it's technically not how math works. But yeah, if it's like if I were to subtract -3 from this card's power, it would be +3.
So I made the same argument until someone pointed out that if Lasher has negative power, it does add power.
Well, then that's just this card is beyond cracked.
Yeah. Or I mean, okay, is a 214 that discards a card busted? Probably, right?
Well, not necessarily, but probably. I was thinking like certainly when you factor in like, oh, I could just play the other Ghost Rider that's not riding a chicken.
Oh god, that's so good. We play okay, so the curve is like Celine, this guy, it's something on 3, then Ghost Rider the Hobgoblin for -11.
Oh, I was just thinking like Celine the Gore or whatever.
No. We Celine the Hobgoblin. This gets +11. Then we Ghost Rider the Hobgoblin back. We cooked, Jerry.
I mean, that's game over. You played 3 cards.
Yeah, that actually is super busted.
I don't know how they're winning those 2 locations. Like you have like ham sandwiches and you're winning.
Yeah. Okay, so based on that theory, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it probably doesn't work that way.
I thought no, but the Lasher thing is weird. Can't say I played too much Lasher.
Yeah, I do think that if it did work, they'd probably be stupid to let it work. Based on the 5 seconds of Hobgoblin theory crafting we just did.
Snapped it in half.
Yep.
Nah, you're better than all the devs.
I mean, first of all, I probably am. Second of all, there's no way they missed that, though.
I mean, you are a guy on YouTube. I trust you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, none of the devs are ranked higher than me. I know that.
Probably true. And if they were, I mean, prove that you weren't cheating.
Dev going to the Italian mafia to get the extra to negotiate rates of cubes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Dev, you show your bank records. Make sure you're not buying cubes.
It's been much like the actual mafia, it was backed by the U.S. government the entire time. Google Operation Gladio.
I ain't doing that. All right, Captain Carter. Ongoing, your other cards in the back row here gain this card's power.
Is this a typo the same way that the other card was, or is the back row actually a thing?
Well, for your hand could very easily be from your hand.
Sure.
Which would be pretty normal templating. I don't know what you oopsie back row into, or like what word you oopsie into back row.
Sure.
Like if you play the cards, it's like 1, I'm mirrored, 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, right?
So you're saying it's 3 and 4.
Yeah, and it's other cards in the back row here. So it is only location, and she has to be in the front row.
No, other cards in the back row here. So she would work if she was...
Well, she doesn't pump herself, so you're giving up equity of a slot.
Yes.
Right?
You do want her in the front row, but she would work in the back row, just not as well.
Yeah. And I don't know, for a 4/2, I would probably not want that.
The card's weird.
Gain this card's power.
Like, okay, first of all, you play this with the Captain America. Like, I'm assuming ongoing buffs work with this card, right? So like Captain America, Blue Marvel, right? That's, 5.
How does layering for that stuff work?
Hopefully, if Captain America's in the back. Luckily, there's not a card that says, give this stuff my power,
Well, so it's just like, okay, so she's... Yeah, I mean, she's 4/2, and then pumping the back row, right? But like, I guess she would have to work with static buffs. It's just weird.
They wouldn't make her an ongoing if you weren't supposed to play her in the ongoing deck, I feel like.
Nah, true.
Like, if she didn't work with ongoings, it'd be like, why would you put that text on her, right? Here's a question. Will she get buffs from Captain Sam's shield?
The shield? does say Cap.
Yeah, but it doesn't count Captain Marvel, which, duh. But she is kind of Captain America.
But not American.
Yeah. I personally don't want to give the British this, but also if she does get buffs from Cap's shield, that seems quite strong, because suddenly, like, you are able to get, 4, right? Because at 4-2, at 4-2 base, that's a 4-6, right? Assuming you fill the location. Once you get to 4-4, it's suddenly a 4-12. You get higher than that, we're talking about really good rate, and then it's a question of how good a rate monster can be at one location before it, like, becomes a problem. But, like, even just normal Captain America Spectrum, right, does a lot here.
So we've already established that I'm not a scientist.
Yes.
Well, what other field does that leave? I think math is like a pretty easy common one. I'm also not a mathematician.
Uh-huh.
So I guess what I'm getting at is here, A, I'm not good at anything, and B, this card's too confusing for me.
So my question was more like, do you think that the entire academy, like academia, if you're not science, you have to be math?
No, I'm saying, like, what are the other big fields? Like science and math are two of them, right?
I just feel like there's a lot.
Englishing. I don't know. Dude, I didn't go to school, so...
It's a lot, man. I thought you were going to do, like, the other thing you could have done is, like, we've established I'm not a scientist. The only other major field left is card game player.
Oh, well, that I am.
Yeah.
I was playing cards today, in fact.
The two, the bicameral legislature of academia is card game players and scientists.
What is there besides science and math?
Card games.
English? Well, right. I mean, maybe someday we'll be like Korea and cherish our esports players,
We'll discover a secret third thing to do beyond science and math.
You're telling me that there are more things, and I'm telling you I can't think of them. And you're just refusing to tell me what they are.
That's just like high school classes, man.
Ironically, I forgot about that one.
Like, I don't know, the humanities? Like, any of those?
Oh, the humanities.
It feels like it's only science. I didn't think you'd be a STEM lord, but even STEM has, like, technology and engineering in it.
Well, yeah, I don't know how these cards work, so clearly I'm not in technology.
What level of a degree would you say you need in order to comprehend Captain Carter? Like
it's above my pay grade. That's
we're talking like an associate's degree. Like, you need a 2-year degree from an accredited institution in order to think this card is, like, not terrible.
I mean, I'm just saying that I feel like a toddler looking at this card and reading it, and everyone else who looks at this and is just like, I understand this. I'm just like, you're brilliant.
I don't even think I understand this. I feel like this card
have to call you. I have to call you Dr. KM.
Sure, happily. KMBest DR. This card is a weird combination of looks weak and probably isn't weak that I think is very funny to exist.
It definitely doesn't read like Eson.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're like, oh, okay, so if I play this at a location, I just win that location.
So, like, let's say you Galacta Carter. That's probably, like, the easiest way to give something big power, right?
I was thinking you just put it in the ongoing deck where, like, you're playing your Doom 2099 crap or whatever, and so you're just doing, like, Spectrum Captain America.
Yeah, Captain America. So, like, at 4/4 in the front row, and you fill the location. 4/8/12. She's a 4/12.
Yeah,
Dece. Not bad. With Galacta 4/15. Maybe I am a mathematician. I can do basic addition.
Proud of
you. Those stats aren't bad. It's just like you do have to fulfill all the conditions, right?
I kind of wonder.
And maybe that is tough.
I kind of wonder if she could cost 3. Like, if you're not going to make her any stronger because you're scared of big number, I kind of wonder if this card could cost 3. Because costing 4 right now conflicts pretty heavily with Doom 2099. So my instinct would be, you want this card to cost 3, or you want this card to cost 5. It's either going to be Blue Marvel for one location that just goes tall as shit, or like Alt Iron Man or something, or it's going to be a 3-drop. And I'm not sure what you want it to be. Because I think 4 right now is, like, if you're looking for this to go in the ongoing deck, it's a little too Doom-centric for it to want another 4.
Yeah, it's interesting because ideally, I think, maybe you just get away from Doom or whatever, but, like...
Yeah, like, be real.
The condition of you need all your stuff to be filled, Doom accomplishes that for sure. So, it is very strange, I guess.
I think this card is
Zabu everything.
This card is a buff away, basically. Because once this card gets buffed, one of the things that those Doom decks struggle with is the ability to go tall on locations. They have incredible ability to go wide. This would solve the ability to go tall by just allowing you to be the world's largest Doom bots of all time. At 4, I don't think it solves that. At 3 or 5, I think it could.
I mean, you do make a good point where it is basically an Iron Man.
Yeah.
Right? Also, like, I don't know, this card at 5, ideally being able to play her in the front row and then
that is
fill
tough.
up the location afterwards. Like, I would rather it be cheaper. I don't know if you could make 3/2 because
I think you could,
like with Galacta and stuff. Maybe, I don't know.
But I think you could make 3/2.
This is one of those cards where it's like really hard because there are so many conditions that you have to fulfill. Basically, it's like, I don't know. Maybe this card is better than I think it is, but right now it seems like a ton of hoops.
I think
maybe it's worth it though.
4/2 not great. 4/2 will be like 4/2 would be like the Thaddeus of the ongoing deck. Something stronger than that would be a good card.
That's pretty bad on a 4-cost card. Anyway, Kahori. 4/6. On reveal, for each card in your hand, give a friendly card +1 power. For each card in your hand, give a friendly card +1 power. So I imagine that if you go like 2/3 Kahori, it's not just like, oh, +1 to your other things. I imagine it just goes like bing, 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 bing.
I kind of think it'll be max power, right? Yeah, like it should go bing, 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 right? It won't just be like, it doesn't say like for each card you have, give it +1. It just distributes the +1s however it may.
Yeah.
So this is
that's
like
good.
A 4/13? Conservative? Not conservatively. That's not a conservative.
Not conservative. That's max. That is max hand size.
This is like a big card though, right? Like that. Are we gonna play Devil Dinosaur again? Are we going back to that? This actually, wait.
Maybe.
This is just Devil Dinosaur. They printed Devil Dinosaur again. This is
baby.
No, it's not even the baby. Like it's like this is just the same card. It's
one lower on the curve.
It's one lower on the curve, but it has a bigger base. They printed Devil Dinosaur again.
Well, you can Wongers it or whatever. I don't know. I know you just laugh whenever I say Wong. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's like, come on, Wong, relax.
Dude, my chibi Wong is
okay,
falling out of control.
When they get rid of Cosmo and Goliath and Juggernaut and Magneto, then I will suddenly respect Wong decks again.
Who plays cards?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. This card's like kind of simple, I guess, but I like it.
Yeah, it seems just like a really, really strong, good card that rewards you for having cards in hand, which is a good incentive to have. I would imagine you're playing this in whatever Victoria hand deck exists. I don't know if it's going to bring back Devil Dinosaur because these cards never seem to actually bring back Devil Dinosaur, but like just playing like Iron Patriot, Hood, Kate Bishop is probably enough that this card is enormous all of the time.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be like, oh, bring back Devil Dinosaur, but I could see this being like 2025's Devil Dinosaur or whatever. It's like,
it just seems like a good
play
card.
the 4-cost version, and maybe like, I don't know, Moon Girl's like too hard. It like goes too hard. You know what I mean? I think you do very much want like Iron Patriot, Kate, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's like the current V hand decks, right? Iron Patriot, Kate, and because like you want cards that are in hand, but you don't want them to be unplayable garbage. You want cards that are in hand, but you also want to be able to play as many of those cards as you can, because you're still a V hand deck, so they got to be cheap. And so it's just basically everything that can make a cheap card. Those are the cards you want.
Kahori, Frigga, Kahori again.
Wow, what an incredible turn 6.
No, I'm saying like Kahori, then like Frigga, Kate.
Oh, but then like you're
Kahori
playing cards out of your hand on turn 6 at the same time. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, okay, fair. Yeah, Kahori is the last, like, on turn 6 is probably not great. You were right about that.
I would much rather, like, V-Hand a Frigga. But, like, yeah, this card probably goes in there and is probably strong as hell, and I think this is just, like, one of those cards with just, like, oh, I can count, and my counting says that this card is good.
Bigger number.
This is a good number. That's good numbers on that card. Good card.
Strange Supreme 2-0. Uh-oh.
This guy is so bizarre, dude.
Give this +2 power whenever it merges. After each turn, merge one of your cards that didn't start in your deck into this. So merge. You're also getting the power from the thing.
Yes, but like cards that didn't start in your deck. Squirrels from Squirrel Girl, Demons from the Hood, Rocks from Debris, Arrows from Kate Bishop? ?
Arsham?
I guess? But like, this guy is so weird that I don't think they've given us enough incentive to play him. Does that make sense? Like, he's such an
more agony, like.
No, he just needs a bigger number on him. He just needs like a number that is larger. This guy needs to be a 2/3, or he needs to get +3, or something where it's just like because if either of those were true, it's like, I get it. I play this in my Debris deck, and it's a one-sided Debris. Oh, I'm doing Squirrel Girl stuff with Mockingbird, and then I'm not actually feeling the clog of it at all, right? But as is, I don't think he does that.
Like, Squirrel Girl Mockingbird with this is kind of weird, because every turn he's just, like, eating away your Mockingbird.
Right, but food. I do think that, like, being able to power out an early big guy, having this convert your clog into not clog, like we talked about the balance of this stuff, right? Like like you just like something like Mysterio Sasquatch, right? This card makes that play line incredible, but you end up. I mean, if it was bigger or better, you know what I mean? This card is too weak to make me want to build around it.
Curve, right?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Like, this card is right now too weak to make me want to build around it. I don't like that.
What if Sam Shield never draw Sam?
Wow, now you play this after Sam Shield and you've made the shocker. Congratulations on your shocker that dies to Shadow King.
Okay, but I think a lot of cards that scale.
Like, I don't know. The point is, this guy's got to be a little stronger, I think. Like, you look at this and you look at Thena, and it's like, yeah, there's no way.
That's fair.
Like, there's just no way.
That is a fair comparison. Yep. Okay. All right, Hydra Stomper. 3/1 ongoing, +1 power for each card you move this game. Fun.
Wait, what?
+1 power for each card you moved this game.
I'm about to play so many Heimdalls. This card is I'm about to play.
Fun.
I'm about to go like this Frigga, this Squirrel Girl Heimdall. It's gonna be so ass, man.
What's the cap on this thing? Like,
honestly, the answer is less than you think, because there's limited space in those locations.
No, there is, right? But like, I don't know, even if you Heimer like 7 things, presumably you did like some iron fisting in the early stages or whatever. So it's like, maybe you get this thing up to 10 power. This thing might need Serter text, you know?
I think it's actually kind of weak. I think it kind of only does Heimdall right now. This card is serving Series 4 to me at the moment, actually.
Hercules?
Come on.
Bad card. Bad card. But like, hey. Wait, what was that fanfare again? We don't know.
We don't know what her stats were.
No, but activate, move your other cards here away. That's 3.
That's 3. But like, this guy,
one of them gets Hercules. Boom, that's 4.
Wow, we made a 3/5. Good thing we don't have any of those.
For each card you moved,
you
could Magneto or something, I guess. Does that count?
Yeah, it's like the world's worst Scream, where Scream scales +4, this gets +1.
Yeah, well, you would play a second worst Scream. Don't tell me you wouldn't.
I would play a second worst Scream, but not this bad.
Yeah, this is pretty bad in Scream. They don't actually do that often.
Yeah.
Anyway, Infinity Ultron is a 5/6 on reveal. Add 2 Ultron Infinity Stones to your hand.
We talked about like
Look.
Quinjet merchants earlier. This guy's a Quinjet merchant.
Well, they don't. Do they have costs on them somewhere? They don't on the page I'm looking.
I want to say 3 because I saw people building with Silver Surfer. So
how do they know that?
I don't know, but I saw people doing it.
What if they cost 2? What if they cost 1?
If they cost 1, they're broken, right? You want to read a couple of the effects off?
Move the lowest power enemy card here to card.card_modified's location.
Oh, God.
Is that Ultron's location? Move the lowest power enemy card here to Ultron's location?
It could be Ultron's location or it could be that.
Or it's?
Yeah.
Move the lowest power.
Please continue with the Infinity Ultron stones, which are different from the Thanos Infinity Stones because they're what-ifer.
What-ifer. Ultron Reality Stone on reveal, add a card.card_token here. Set its power to card.card modified. So yeah, I guess
is that
could be Ultron, could be itself.
Yeah. So it makes a guy and sets it to the power
to something.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So it's like bad Jubilee or good Jubilee, depending.
Yeah, I don't know. Time Stone on reveal, put a card from your hand here.
Like, okay. Just do that?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wongers.
Yeah.
Stonks. All right, Mind Stone. Ongoing. Your on reveal abilities happen here twice.
Speaking of Wong.
Power Stone on reveal. Double Infinity Ultron's power. Soul Stone on reveal for each location you have. Give a friendly card there plus 2 power. So maybe plus 6 total.
For each location you have?
For each full location you have, give a friendly card
like,
there.
What are they making 2. A 4th location? What's going on? Like that's
well, yeah, for each full location you have. If your 4th one is full,
right? Of course,
yeah, give someone over there plus 2.
I can't tell if this card is good or not because I just don't know enough about what it does.
I need to know the costs and stats on these things. First of all, I think that's a pretty big part of it because like 5/6 is not anything to write home about.
Really bad stats, actually. If they're 3s, this is a 6 Silver Surfer card, I think, because getting your Wong Surfer built in is kind of cool. Surfer has the ability to ramp too. Like, it doesn't hate playing a 5. You probably can't play Quinjet, though, because you're a Killmonger deck. I don't know.
You could, like, Luna into this.
Yeah, there is a lot of ramp at 3. There's, like, Hope Summers and Luna. Like, you could do stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, Luna does it clean. Hope is kind of scuffed, right?
The fact that this only gives you 2 of those as well, like, there's going to be some real high rolls and some real low rolls, I feel like, off of this guy.
Yeah, I mean, this is more pronounced than something like Kate Bishop, right? Like, there's more cards in the pool, and I feel like the on reveal stuff is more powerful on average than like a random Kate arrow, but like you definitely feel that with Kate Bishop sometimes too, where it's like, oh, you get the -2 arrow in your clog deck or something. You're like, yes.
Yeah. I will say I did see people building Silver Surfer, but I wonder if they were building Silver Surfer not because they thought these were 3, but because they just wanted to play Wong in Silver Surfer or whatever. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Because like these, I don't think you can make a card that says 1 cost Wong. I don't think you can do that.
Well, 5 plus a die roll plus. Yo, did you read that old Eson?
I said I didn't think they could make it, and then they didn't make it. That's not an argument against me.
Well, I'm just saying maybe this card changes too. I don't know what the timeline is. Maybe it's all make 'em ups.
This one's April.
Goliath.
Actually, we do know the timeline. This one's April. These are April cards.
Currently February. Okay.
Yes.
Goliath 2/1 ongoing +1 power for each other ongoing you have in play.
I would have called this card a super banger before Sam Wilson came out and made the ongoing deck have just way better 2/3 scaling between Sam and Cap. But it's still like a pretty solid, like, again, Series 4 vibes off this card, where it's just like, that's just like a card.
Yeah.
But it's better than
simple.
plenty of other Series 4 cards have been, for sure.
It's pretty simple. It's like the ongoing Mobius, but like
bad. Well,
I mean,
worse.
It's not bad though. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, 2/8 or something.
I mean, Doombot 2099s all have ongoings.
Yeah. Oh no, this card's good. All right. Topaz 3/4. After you play a card here, give your Hydra Stomper +1 because it moves it to the middle location.
I already forgot what Hydra Stomper did. So this one is after you play a card here, it moves to the middle location.
After you play a card here, move that card to the middle location. Yeah.
That's unprintable. They should not make this card.
What?
I'm going to put my Madam Web in the middle location, and then I'm going to play this on a location that is not that, and then I'm going to get free move procs the entire rest of the game.
That doesn't even seem that good.
It doesn't seem that good to have a 17 power Vulture on turn 4.
I mean, yeah, but you could just play Web and then play Vulture. Or like,
right, but like this is free, right? Like this is like a free thing that does that. It's like if Hercules wasn't terrible.
It's free, yeah, in the way that Hercules is free.
No, but like Hercules, you don't know where your stuff goes.
Yeah, this is maybe a better version of Hercules. I just don't know that it's like, oh, unprintable or whatever.
I think it's unprintable.
The problem is that the move scalers all got buffed, and then they printed a bunch of more move cards, but like those cards were buffed when those enablers did not exist.
What I do like about this card, because you're correct about that, I actually have nothing to add to it. I do like that it's impossible to use with Iron Fist. I think that's just a very funny gag, where it's like, how do you use this with Iron Fist? Because it's either on the left or on the right, and it's sending stuff to the middle. So if you Iron Fist and then play it in this lane, Iron Fist will happen first, moving it either to the middle or not at all. And so it's like actually 100% impossible to use Iron Fist with this, which is pretty sick. Because if it was possible to use Iron Fist with this, that would be super messed up.
You could use it with Iron Fist if you topazed mid.
Yeah, exactly.
So you could go Web mid, Topaz mid, next turn Iron Fist Torch, and move the Topaz out.
Yeah, no, you can do. Yeah, okay. All you're doing is convincing me that this card is even more unprintable.
Yeah, it's not pretty, it's not clean, but yeah, you can do that, I guess.
I hate this card. I want them to take this into whatever woodshed they took old Eson into and do the same thing to it.
Maybe it's cracked. I don't know.
I hate this card. Oh my god. Stop making move cards.
That's it.
Okay. On that note, this was, I feel like I say this every time. One of these days we're going to do like an actual podcast that's like a podcast about something that like we actually like have a focused topic and we talk about it. But every time we end up like 35 minutes into the video and we're talking about like psyops.
Don't bring it up. Just let them keep watching if they want to watch. Don't then just talk about how dumb they are for watching.
Well, I mean, I think my audience at this point already understands that. Like, come on now.
But they can understand it, and you don't have to keep telling them.
I think it is my ethical duty as a journalist to just really make sure they get, like, just...
Oh, journalism.
Yeah.
Is that like a mathematics?
God damn. No,
Does that count?
No, it falls under English, Jerry. Come on.
Words. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just words. English, that encompasses all words and all forms of communication, including languages that aren't English.
Dude, look what I got today.
Nice.
I gotta mimic you.
Have people seen the one behind you yet?
To go with that mimic
Yeah, the one behind you is like constantly there. Also, the gamer chair disparity in this podcast has gotten out of control, frankly. I feel like every time your chair is larger and you are lower in it. Yes.
I love slouching. My posture is so bad.
Like I have no ability to slouch in a chair like this, which is part of why I use it, right? It's just been very comfortable consistently. and I haven't had back problems, even though I sit in this chair for like 6 hours at a time, which I'm very grateful for.
But, I didn't even know you had a chair.
Yeah, no, I've just, it's just like a standing desk. Just been standing the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you're just doing the wall squats thing the whole time.
Yep. Well, on that bombshell, it's time to end. Thank you, everyone who watched this one all the way through. I know it was a ridiculous one, and expect more ridiculous ones, because we're not going to get that fixed in any way, shape, or form. Later, y'all.